Hi, my beautiful friends. Welcome. I have the fun today. It's misty, raining. I wanted to do a new video on goldenrod flowers, and they're just too wet. We got some rain, which I feel very blessed. Didn't have to water my upcoming fall garden, and it's such a blessing. But I thought I would just kind of show you something. And I'll put some pictures and a little video I did. I harvested out 2 large plants that have been growing here about 5 years. And you wait 2 years before you harvest a root. That's the good old Indian way to make sure that your roots are long, beautiful. And I spent a day chopping, and I'll put a little video in here so you can see when you are, after you harvest roots, how to actually chop them for dehydration. As with any fresh root medicine, this is the best time to chop, whether you're going to use it immediately into a tincture or elixir, or if you're getting ready to dehydrate it. I usually chop my roots about 1/4 to 1/2 inch when it is in a finger-like size, such as this elecampane roots. The bigger pieces I will chop smaller. The best way with roots is, because there's so much moisture in them, they're in Mother Earth, is to dehydrate them. Now, I have a dehydrator, a really nice one, Excalibur. It's got 9 trays. Does a fantastic job drying my plant material, roots, foods, mushrooms. But you can also do it in your oven on a low temperature, like at 150. Usually with herbs, you really need to be at 130, 120, and a lot of ovens do not accompany. You can only go to 170, but if yours does that, you can do it in your oven. Your house is gonna smell interesting. So elecampane has inulin in it, which is a sugar. That is one of the top ones with the sugar, natural sugar content for someone with like diabetes. Used as a sugar substitute for those with diabetes. Pretty strong throughout my shop and lingering all the way up into my home. You can't miss it. If I walked into someone's house and they were drying their elecampane, I would know it in a heartbeat. It's one of those scents. You just, when you smell it, you know it. So don't be alarmed by it. It's not bad. It does have more of a kind of sweeter scent. So I had done the first harvest, and then Sarah spent the day yesterday chopping this up for us because my shoulder could only take so much. And I'll show you why. Some of the roots, when you pull them out, this isn't even hardly as big as it was. So when I cut it this size, I am doing it for a reason. This can be added directly straight into our elderberry syrups, or if you're doing elixirs. But for a tincture, it'd be kind of hard to break through all of that. Now, you know it's dry when you can break it up. So if this is the only way you can cut it, then you can break it up once it's dry. But the fresh root is really difficult to use like in a tincture or so, unless you're chopping it. And so dehydration is best. It's better to use dried when you're tincturing, because you get more medicinal properties for less the amount. But once you dry it, it's not even half the weight. It's probably close to 1/4 plus of the actual weight of the fresh root. So you use less. So these are the big slices. I'm actually not gonna put these in a bowl. These are gonna go into a different jar. I have another tray. So if you have a dehydrator, you're gonna have, like mine has some pretty decent sized squares, which I would have liked trays with smaller squares. So then you use unbleached parchment paper is better than unbleached wax paper, but you can give it a try. Wax paper might leave a little residue, so go for your unbleached parchment paper. It's cheaper too. But make sure it's not the bleached one. You don't want to be using that. You wouldn't use it in cooking anyways. So this one I am going to set over here. And this one has also smaller, thin-sized, almost like a thick potato chip. That will be used for our elderberry syrup. Now, elecampane is really well known to be very difficult to take as a tea, unless you make an elixir with honey. So when we do our elecampane, we make sure in the tea that there's herbs that are blended with it that help bring down the bitter, earth, astringent flavor. Because what elecampane does is take water out of your body, especially out of your lungs. It helps with chronic cough. It helps with emphysema, COPD, COVID lungs, a bronchial infection, an asthma infection. Any of that is going to draw it out. And as I mentioned earlier, it also has some abilities for diabetics. Now, talk to someone you trust if you want to use elecampane to keep your blood sugar at a good level. Do your research. I'm telling you that right now, okay? Because you don't want to be bouncing around your blood sugar. So it's best to work with someone who really knows what they're doing. Okay. So then the rest you do into very small pieces. So you are chopping for hours. This root, after 2 years, is going to go down at least 2-3 feet. It's going to have top long roots. I've shown pictures of it. And then it's going to have a main root with lots of tubers. And that's where you would break it off to replant a few of your tubers back into the ground so that the following year, as long as you give it deep soil, you can reharvest it after 2 years. No, the first plant, you wait for 2. When you divide it and put a tuber back in the ground, the following year, if it flowers, then you can harvest it. If it doesn't flower, then it's telling you, don't harvest me. I'm not ready yet. So I have one plant, that tuber I put last year up in my top garden, which isn't as deep soil. It did not flower this year. So I will wait till next year. And then the 2 that I dug out were off of 3-year-old plants, transplanted from the bulb. And those all flowered, and I knew elecampane to the rescue. So we make tincture with elecampane in the tincture as well for lung support. Hear that? I do add a little honey into the tincture. As I'm showing you here, this is the brandy I've added to the elecampane root in my jar. I use distilled water to hit the 70% mark, and now I'm adding that cup of honey to sweeten up that bitter taste that elecampane can give you in tincturing. And let me tell you, you can reuse these. Just let them air dry a little bit. If they have a strong scent, you could just hang them up. And this will have a little strong scent in it from the elecampane. But, so this took 10 hours. 9 trays. So once you have it dried and you're ready to make a tincture, then always add just a little honey. I choose brandy. Brandy helps sweeten up this root over vodka. 30% water. And then I put it through the maceration process and double extraction. So here's for me while it's raining and my plants are getting their lovely, lovely medicine. I will add in here some of the chopping that I did the other day so you can see how that's done. And now you know how to dry it. I still have all this here. It's pretty easy if you just fold these up, making some noise. Oops. And I'm sitting so that you can see. Yeah, I haven't started my fire yet. We're supposed to have some pretty decent temperatures for the next 10 days. Middle 70s, mid 50s at night. Still have tomatoes that are green. I'm waiting for them to blush. But look at this. That's cut and sifted. And I'm going to tell you, there is no better feeling than doing your own medicine. Growing it, loving on it, knowing what kind of soil you have it's growing in. This did not come off of an area of disturbed soil that I don't know what kind of soil it is. Did they spray the ground? Did they spray plants nearby? And so I can assure you this is organic. Like, just from the way that I grow, what I use for my soil. So this is amazing. And I know the medicine. So meat, campaign root, and look at this. It's just gonna keep getting more and more. I will tell you though, out of two plants that get 7-8 feet tall, I'm looking at 2 pounds dried of the medicine. But try to go find it online and you'll see what I'm talking about. Wouldn't you rather have something good like this, knowing how it grew, how it was treated, the medicine was honored, and it's for you. All right, everyone, I'm gonna finish this up, get to work. I'm hoping that the sun comes out later because I really would love to do the goldenrod video all over. You all know which one because it's getting a lot of hits right now. And at some parts, it got distorted. It was an older phone. It was done several years ago. And it looked like an alien. It's kind of cool, but I would like a clean, crisp one. All right, everyone. Happy harvest, happy life. See you soon. Thank you.